It was supposed to be a triumphant moment, a luxurious unveiling of Meghan Markle's latest foray into the lifestyle market, her high-end wine brand as ever. But instead, what unfolded on live television was nothing short of a public relations disaster. In a painfully candid moment on the Graham Norton show, the Duchess was metaphorically uncorked and poured out for all to see without the royal gloss. With biting wit and unapologetic candor, Norton shredded the launch with the kind of brutal honesty only he could deliver. What was meant to taste like legacy and elegance quickly soured into what one audience member described as the worst branding flop I've seen since Fyre Festival. The humiliation didn't begin with the punchlines, it began with the product itself. Meghan's as ever wine had already been panned by early reviewers as overpriced, underwhelming, and lacking any real identity. Marketed with vague messaging about purposeful living and royal elegance, the wine was criticized for being all style and no substance. In a blind taste test conducted by the Daily Mail, Meghan's signature rose scored the lowest among mid-tier brands, with one critic remarking that it tasted like rose water mixed with vinegar and regret. Graham Norton didn't need a script to mock it, he simply called it what it was, a bottle of Instagram captions with a cork. On live TV, the audience erupted in laughter as Norton recited snippets from the wine's official description, mocking lines like notes of female empowerment and harvested under a full moon. What does that even mean? He quipped. Is this wine or a tarot card reading? Meghan, who reportedly tuned into the episode ahead of a scheduled media appearance, was said to be furious behind the scenes. According to insiders, she found Norton's takedown personal and venomous, especially given that she had hoped her brand would reframe her public image as an entrepreneur rather than a scandal magnet. The backlash didn't stop at comedy. Within hours of the episode airing, social media lit up with clips of the segment with hashtags like Cringe Wine and Meg the Merlot trending globally. Influencers who had once praised Meghan's visionary rebranding began deleting posts or clarifying that they had never actually tried the wine. PR experts weighed in, calling the launch a textbook example of style over substance and warning that Meghan's continued attempts to monetize her royal connection were beginning to wear thin. The public wants authenticity, said brand strategist Linda Coulson. Not a duchess-turned-winemaker trying to sell a bottle based on vibes and virtue signaling. But perhaps the most damning critique came from within the wine industry itself. Sommelier Kevin Rusk, a frequent guest on culinary panels, released a scathing YouTube review calling Meghan's wine a triumph of marketing over merit. He added, "It's the kind of thing you expect to find in a hotel minibar with a royal sticker slapped on it. You're not paying for quality, you're paying for a name, and frankly, that name doesn't mean what it used to." This is not Meghan's first attempt at lifestyle branding, and observers are starting to notice a pattern: grand announcements, glossy visuals, vague messaging, and eventual collapse under scrutiny. Her Spotify deal famously crumbled amid reports of low output and unmet promises. The Netflix series, while initially popular, was critiqued for lacking depth and offering little new insight. "There's a disconnect between the Markle brand and actual substance," said British columnist Tom Bauer. "It's as if she thinks she can narrate her way into success." Back on the Graham Norton show, the segment ended with a tongue-in-cheek toast. Norton raised a glass presumably not filled with Meghan's wine and said, "To everyone who knows what real taste is." The jab wasn't lost on viewers. Even audience members interviewed after the show described the moment as satisfying, long overdue, and finally someone saying what we're all thinking. In an age where celebrity ventures are scrutinized more than ever, Meghan's failed wine launch is not just a bad day at the office, it's a flashing red light on a public brand in freefall. The Duchess, once hailed as a modernizing force within the royal family, now finds herself struggling to convince the public she stands for anything more than performative purpose and aesthetic branding. And as the corked bottles of as ever collect dust on luxury shelves, it's clear that no amount of royal shine can cover up the taste of inauthenticity. Meghan may have expected to toast to success, but thanks to Graham Norton and an audience that's no longer buying what she's selling, all she's left holding is a bitter glass of reality. What was meant to be a comeback has instead become a cautionary tale. Insiders at the production company behind the wine's launch reportedly scrambled to do damage control after the Norton segment aired. A scheduled promotional podcast appearance was quietly canceled, and media outlets that were previously granted exclusive access to the wine's development were asked to delay coverage. Meanwhile, several boutique retailers that had stocked as ever for its brand name alone are now facing customer backlash, with many demanding refunds and accusing stores of pushing hype over quality. Critics aren't just zeroing in on the product, they're targeting Meghan herself. You can't sell authenticity if everything about your brand feels choreographed, said veteran PR analyst David Kinsey. People are tired of the curated victimhood and hollow empowerment slogans. This wine was just the latest in a long line of glossy failures. For a woman who once stepped onto the world stage with potential to redefine royal legacy, Meghan's latest misstep proves that public goodwill is no longer on tap. The cork has popped and there's no putting it back in.